And then everything from there, I could probably work my way around the chicken and start identifying things.
I don't think that'll help you at all, but go on.
Because isn't the pan Tennessee? The chicken is Kentucky, but the pan is Tennessee, right?
Yes.
And then the shoe is Louisiana?
Yes.
Jim, figure out where the chicken is.
It's Kentucky.
love of God.
I just said it.
Today's episode brought to you by our therapy partner, Dirty B,
Thanks,
from
Dirty
fabulous
B.
Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Pod Therapy, your #1 geometry podcast.
Trigonometry. We've been over this. It was
We did
trigonometry.
go over it. It was geometry.
Real
was
people,
right!
real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your
Oh.
questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or
You're just
email us at
mad.
podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Broadcasting from the churn. That guy is Dr. Jim
Spidey.
Jobin. I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod
Look,
Therapy.
dude, what else is it if we're talking about angles and we're talking about naming triangles? That is definitely the first page of your trigonometry book.
Yeah. That wasn't the point. I think the point was that's like chess. We were playing checkers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because we were like,
yeah.
what was that called? That thing?
All right, look,
where you've got
it didn't
three
bode well that
sides?
we didn't know how to
Okay, yeah.
name the triangles.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're good at any of it.
So I wouldn't say what we were doing was trigonometry.
I think that's just because that word feels big, and that's why we're like
I
really
think that's
intimidated. We're like,
exactly
well,
it.
let's not say that we're doing
Yeah.
trigonometry. 'Cause we don't want to be, put in check by anybody.
No,
I think it was.
I think I took trigonometry in high school, and I'm pretty sure that had nothing to do with it. I mean, I
Yeah.
believe that what we were talking about may be considered some of the basic
yeah.
ideas
That's
of
it. That's all I'm
trigonometry.
saying.
But that's like saying that
If we were
everything.
doing the alphabet, you'd be like, this belongs in English
no,
class.
that's like saying
Nah,
that
it's
everything is physics.
Isn't
Like,
it, though?
yeah, sure, technically,
yeah.
like me picking up this pen
is physics. Yeah. So it's
But
biology.
no physicist would be like,
technically physics.
that is physics.
I don't know, man. I feel like we just did trig.
Well,
I think that's what we did.
Either
and
way,
physics.
And physics.
it is it's the Christmas season.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I forgot we had a gift.
Happy holidays, everybody. Yeah, we got a
We should
couple
probably
things.
open that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
just, it's
We
not-
got some gifts.
It's
Thank
not
you.
too much trouble. Here.
Let's see. Oh, okay. I am reaching over. I am receiving an envelope. This envelope is addressed to Pod Therapy, care of Ice Cream Social, 7835 South Rainbow Boulevard, Suite 4-195, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89118. It's coming to us from Trenton. Trenton, what state is that in?
Really?
Do you guys know?
States?
Is Trenton
Well,
a
it's New
state?
Jersey, but
There's a Trenton, New Jersey.
yeah, it's probably several states.
I'm sure there's
I
more
thought
than one
New
Trenton. in the
Jersey's
country.
one state. What are you saying?
It sure is, buddy. It sure is. You
Is
should
it
open
not?
that card.
No.
No. New Jersey is
You've
definitely
never
a
heard
state.
of West New Jersey?
In West New Jersey, born and raised on the playground is where I spent
No,
most of my days.
I'm saying other states may also have a Trenton.
Oh. I'm going to open this now.
Like
Yeah,
there are other
let's-
states that have a Las Vegas.
Let's move on.
Besides Nevada, other
Yeah.
states can have a Trenton.
There's a lovely Santa Claus stamp on this. And oh, these are great. Oh, it's two cat drawings from The Simpsons carrying people babies.
Nice.
The two cat women are petting peoples. And it's awkward AF. I love it. Oh, this is very cute.
Who's the
That's
Oh,
from Kate and
Nope, it's from Rob and Kate
Robert
and
Brownie
their
Jr.
kitty
Oh,
cats. And Nara, I think, is one of the kitties, and Kaylee is one of the kitties.
So you realize that's supposed to be them, right?
oh, is that? Oh,
Yeah, the humans. That's them.
Oh, it totally works. Oh, that's great. Oh, okay, so it's like two cat people that are petting two naked people, and that's clearly Rob and Kate.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Rob and Kate, just so you were clear, I'm sure your card is perfectly understandable to most people that you've sent it to.
Oh, these are great. I love on the back, it's just like updates of just like their lives.
Oh, that's great.
It says home, New Jersey, travel. Kate went to New York a lot. Relationship, still together.
Great.
This is great. This is really fun.
always
Achievements.
love
Rob
getting
bought
just
a
like-
new car.
I always love getting just like the regular holiday
Oh,
card
these are
from
fun.
listeners.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Futurama reference. Okay, cool. It says, did you get the Futurama reference or just New Nightmares? That's cute.
Awesome.
Thank you. We love Christmas cards.
And then there's
got
a box.
package.
Man, we got a box.
Ooh, what's in the box?
iPad.
Holy shit.
B iPads. B iPads for everybody.
It's one iPad.
Don't you fucking do this to me again, Ben.
It is a package of Three Musketeers.
Oh, I love
Very
Three
nice.
Musketeers.
All right.
Those are the best.
There's some stuff here at the bottom.
Oh, maybe there's something
I think
in
it's
there
an
with
Amazon
the
gift
that
receipt
will,
in case
yeah.
we want to return.
But
the
no,
Three
does
Musketeers.
one of the gift receipts say who it's from?
This
Let's
keeps
see.
happening where people
know
send
it
us
does.
things, and then the Amazon paper never tells us who it was.
Send a thank you.
Does it say who it is?
Good.
Nope,
Keep-
that one
look at the
doesn't.
other papers.
That's
All
a
right,
gift receipt.
You keep looking, buddy.
A gift for you. Something sweet to keep away from the sadness that is being Jacob from Lil Bear.
Thank you, Lil Bear.
Aw. Oh, this is actually for you.
Oh, it's
Oh,
for
no,
Jacob.
no. It's for not being Jacob. Okay.
Okay.
This is for us.
To keep
Yeah.
away the sadness
Something
of Jacob.
sweet
Oh, I
to
see.
keep away the
Yeah.
sadness that is not being
Oh, that's
Jacob.
not just
Oh,
that's not even
That
the
is-
Three Musketeers. I could see other things in there.
There's what?
That's a mix pack.
Ooh.
That's a fun pack of candy bars.
It is.
I follow. So the note is saying
talking about?
you must be sad because you are
Because
not
we're
Jacob.
not Jacob.
Here's
Which
some
means
candy.
I interpret that to mean Jacob doesn't get any of these.
That's how I heard it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
That's what the trigonometry.
Oh
said.
no, I thought that was pictures of Whoppers on the front of it, but it's
Dude,
just more Three
Whoppers are
Musketeers.
gross.
No.
Whoppers are awesome.
I do not care for Whoppers.
Whoppers are the
at all.
the milk.
Okay,
malted.
they're malt.
You
Yeah.
don't
milk,
get
yeah.
to speak because you eat mounds.
Mounds are delicious.
No, they're not, you idiot. You ignorant slut. Give me a musketeer. Thank you, sir. And thank you for people that are sending us
Thank
things
you. Thank
to
you,
eat
Little
on
Bear.
this podcast.
That is very
Owen?
sweet.
Woo! There we go. All right.
Read
So
the
now you can,
read the address again, Jim. You did so good.
I did it. I said it's Trenton.
No, read our address again if people want to mail us.
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Jesus
Send your mail to
Christ.
Trenton, New Jersey. Pod Therapy, care of Ice Cream Social, 7835 South Rainbow Boulevard, Suite 4-195, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89118. The Ocho. Thank you, everybody.
Shout out to all of Jim's current patients.
Yes. Thanks. Patreon.com/therapy. Actually, that wasn't in the Patreon. That was entirely an
No,
unrecorded.
just saying hello to everybody.
Why do we even reference shit that's not in the Patreon? This is
See,
why
if you didn't say further up, if you didn't say follow things, nobody would know.
I
I
have to
was
start like
referencing anything.
shouting off the record every time I have a conversation with Jacob. I'm moving on. All right, dating a gaslighting ninja from Darth Vader. Hey, I am dating a gaslighting ninja. He is amazing and taking.
Please just be somebody that works for a gas company.
I
Please just
really
be somebody who
hope.
works for a gas company.
A whale oil company.
Yeah.
He is amazing at not taking any criticism or taking any criticism and turning it around to being my fault, which often just leaves me speechless without a better retort. Here are two examples which I would like to hear your advice on how to respond next time that they happen. Here's the first one. Whenever I disagree with his decisions, he gets flustered and says that I never support him, and why can't I just get on board and be a team player? I can point out any number of concerns or alternatives, but he doesn't want to listen and says I'm just being difficult and a bad partner, only looking at the negative and creating conflict. Do you see the ninja move there? Number two, when my partner is in a bad mood from work or stress or tired, etc., and snaps at me for whatever slight he perceives, I say, hey, don't take out your anger on me just because you're upset about that other thing. In which he replies, oh, I forgot. I'm not allowed to have feelings, and it's all about you. What a supportive partner you're being. Again, ninja move. You can probably tell he's not one to rationally sit down later to discuss his gaslighting and how it makes me feel. So how do I respond to these situations? Should I just stay strong and ignore his obvious manipulation? Should I call him out? Should I respond with, nah, you are. Thanks, Luke, I am your father.
Okay, so not willing to look at it in the moment and also not willing to look at it later.
I kind of get itchy about, so, okay, we've talked about on the show how we don't love how some mental health words get weaponized,
Right.
and then they get colloquialized and they don't have any meaning anymore. Gaslighting is one of those for me now. Like, I appreciate a shorthand term for lying convincingly in a way that asks the other person to doubt their certainty on things.
But that's not where the term came from.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know the movie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes from a book that was a play that was later on a movie. Yeah, I mean, it comes from that world.
Right. So like gaslighting in shorthand, the way that I think it's a good word, and the idea I think it captures is if you say, I don't know, like, hey, I think that we should take umbrellas because it's going to rain outside. And then you guys, no, we shouldn't do that. Are you sure? Yeah, we should. Then you go and then it rains. It's like, I told you we should take umbrellas. You never said that. You never told me that we should take umbrellas. I'm the one who's usually, you never brought that up. It's like, what do wait, you honestly think that you suggested you really believe that? Yeah, I said that to you. Wow, I'm concerned. I'm really concerned that you actually believe that happened. That's gaslighting. Like insisting that something happened that didn't happen or vice versa. That's the reference in the movie, is that the husband is dimming the lights so that the wife believes that it's getting darker, and then he stares at her with a concerned tone of like, oh my God, no, it's just as bright as it's always been.
The husband's goal in Gaslight
to make her seem crazy
is to make her seem mentally unhinged.
Right,
Yes.
because he intends to like take her over. So I'm comfortable with gaslighting in
to
that
make her
context.
believe that she is mentally unhinged.
Yes,
Sorry,
so that
that's
she will
that's a
doubt
very important
herself.
part.
That is the key of gaslighting.
She will begin to doubt her own sanity.
Right. And where I get itchy about it in the real world is a lot of people use this now anytime they're talking to somebody and that person doesn't agree with them. And they go, "Oh, you're gaslighting me right now because you're persuasively arguing for your point of view, or I think that you did X and you're arguing that you didn't intend for X." And I'm like, "Oh, so you're causing me to doubt my own truth? You're gaslighting me?" And it's like, no, I'm a human who's lobbying on behalf of my own perception of reality. That's not dishonest. That's not inherently bad.
Yeah, I think that's just a misunderstanding on people's parts of
I just
what
see
gaslighting
people
is.
throwing it around now, and it's
No,
becoming this thing where it's like
That's
everybody
fine.
who disagrees with you is a gaslighter. I don't like that.
I definitely see that too, because I even noticed that, like, because a large part of cognitive behavioral therapy is challenging perception.
Right.
And so if that's what gaslighting is, then we're, as therapists,
Right.
we're all gaslighting.
Well, and in couples
You know,
work,
we all
I
do
get
that.
stuck a lot. It doesn't happen a ton, but sometimes it happens where one person goes, "You see, Jim, they're gaslighting me." And like that's a word that ends conversations. That doesn't open new conversations.
I
Well, I
see what
think
you're
an
It's like I'm
important
supposed
part,
to call balls and strikes. Like, "Yep, you're right. Out."
I
like
think an
so you're
important
right
part
now.
of the definition of gaslighting is it has to be purposeful, and I
Yeah.
don't believe it can be true.
Right. You're trying to you're trying to cause this other person to doubt their own perception of reality.
Yeah,
And
like
so,
if Nick comes into the studio every week weighing the exact same amount,
right,
and every week I tell him that
Right.
it looks like he's putting on weight.
right.
Right.
Every single week,
Yeah.
I can make him think, and
You're
if I-
causing him to
if
doubt
I say
his
it
own
often
perception.
enough,
Yeah.
he's going to start to doubt that,
Right.
and then he'll start.
But,
he might
but that's what's
act
tricky
poorly
is
about it.
all
Jesus
humans.
Christ, I eat 3 Musketeers.
Yeah. Man, we're
That's
just taking shots at you now.
Yep.
This is a great chance to plug the mental health. May as well go for it.
So Pod Therapy, mentalfitpersonaltraining.com. Hit the link up at the top. Pod Therapy Fitness Challenge.
Hit that link.
January,
Musketeer
February.
bar off.
All right,
Your pod therapy.
moving on.
Don't forget. So what annoys me about this is that anytime somebody disagrees with us or they have a perspective that clashes with ours and they're passionately arguing for it, we say, "Oh, you're denying my truth, therefore you're gaslighting me." So Darth, in your letter, I'm going to tell you, I say this as a friend to you because we always default to the writer. You know, we don't have a habit on the show of saying, "No, writer, you're wrong." And I'm not trying to say it to you here, but I'm trying to come alongside you to say, "Hey, I don't know that I would use that word." And that's okay if that word captures the essence of your frustration. But, just coming alongside you, trying to be your friend, I would maybe just choose different words. Like I would say, look, because if you call somebody a gaslighter, and I don't know if you're saying that to your partner, but when you do, it itself becomes a discounting measure. You start telling the other person their perception's irrelevant, and I'm looping everything you say and do into this word that just is shorthand for foul. Like you've created a logical fallacy. Nope, that's an ad hominem. We don't have to listen to you anymore. That's a red herring. We don't have to listen to you anymore. And it dehumanizes and discounts perspective. In both of your examples, it's hard because as I read them, I think, oh, okay. The first one, your partner is trying to make a decision and then doesn't, when you try to offer advice or alternatives to that, your partner gets frustrated and says that you're being negative to them and you're not supportive of them. And you're saying, "See, they're gaslighting me." And writer, I don't know that I completely see it. From what you're, and again, I'm only going off of a paragraph of words. I'm sure if I were sitting here talking to you, you could help me understand a little bit better. But going off of this, writer, it is tricky because I kind of hear that and go, well, yeah, that's a conversation a lot of couples will have. Is one person will say, I think I'm gonna take that new job, and then you look at them and go, well, alternatively, you don't have to. And it's like, but I just decided to. Like, back my play. Like if you can hear my cadence shift to, I'm doing it. Now's not where I want deliberation. Now's where I want support. That's a normal thing.
I see what you mean. I would suggest that we move on from that part, and just say that perhaps perhaps either the writer didn't convey all of the gaslighting stuff to us, or the writer is just mistaken about the definition of gaslighting.
Again, that's fine.
Either way, I think we have a problem.
Well, and writers are frustrated.
I think there's a different issue here beyond just whether or not the partner is gaslighting you.
I mean, I can totally relate to number 2. And this is the thing. I think this is what makes conversations like this really difficult. Both sides are true, right?
Yes.
And that's what makes it difficult.
That is what makes it difficult.
And this is what I can absolutely relate to you, Darth, on number 2.
Yeah.
Because this shit happens to me all the time.
To recap, number 2 is the one where partner comes home stressed and then takes out anger on Darth.
Right.
And Darth says, hey, don't take your anger out on me. And partner says, oh, that's right, I'm not allowed to have feelings.
Right.
And that's the mental ninja that the writer is referring to.
Yeah.
So just a little self-disclosure. This happens between Laura and I all the time.
Okay.
Which is like, she has a rough day at work, and I get overwhelmed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I can't do this.
Right.
You can't just dump all this on me.
Okay.
But then I go play a bad round of golf.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And I come home.
Yeah.
And I'm just in a pissy mood.
Yeah,
and I don't
throwing
want to talk.
clubs at the window.
Just
yeah.
So,
terrible
I'm gonna
day.
start calling Nick anytime I have a bad day.
Yeah.
just to tell him about it.
Hey, man, what are you up to?
But
gas is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how many lights I have to run?
But here's the thing. I recognize that.
Yeah.
And I know the problem is the hypocrisy and the lack of balance.
Sure. That's the key to me.
And I think, like, of course, the partner has that. They can be upset. They have that ability to have that emotion. They can own that emotion.
Right.
Absolutely. So the partner's 100% right about that. However, Darth is also 100% right.
Right.
And that shouldn't just always be dumped on the other person.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to find some middle ground here where it's like, and that's the thing that I work on quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is trying to find that appropriateness where I can allow myself to be upset. I can allow myself to have a bad day.
Right.
I don't always have to have my A game all the time.
Yeah.
I can allow myself to have a C game or a D game, just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. But then I have
write
to,
on my fingernails.
but then the next thing I have to do then is I have to go into solutions.
Right.
Okay. I can't just wallow in self-pity. Like, okay, so what am I going to do about it? Yeah.
You could.
So there has to be something that we work towards.
Yeah.
And I think number 1, the most important thing is everybody, both people in the relationship, being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I realize that it bothers me when you do this.
Right.
I also recognize I do it too.
Well, yeah, and the second example too, I don't love that because so partner comes in and is fussy, is having a bad day. Darth says, "Hey, please don't take this out on me," right? And then partner's like, "Oh, so I'm not allowed to emote. I'm not allowed to be in my truth." And I appreciate, like you were saying, how tricky that is, because from Darth's perspective, it's like, look, but I don't deserve this, and it's aimed at me, right? And it's volatile, and so you're kind of like pointing this at me, and like, I don't want that. I shouldn't have to bear this burden, and so, but I can also see partner's perspective where it's like, but I shouldn't be forced to be inauthentic, sunshiny and sanitized in your presence, because this can't be like a bummer-free zone where like I don't harsh your mellow. I'm sorry that I lived today and had a bad day and that we signed up for a relationship, and that kind of means you have to deal with my bullshit. But at the same time, there is such a thing as balance, and I can see where Darth's like, hey, look, you don't have permission to mistreat me or treat me, in a negative way that stains my psyche for the day, carrying in your muddy shoes from your day. Like, you do have a responsibility, like, hose those bad boys off on the porch, come in, let's work together on some amount of what you've dealt with today. But that can't be my burden.
So
You can't like load me up with that. There
So
is a
it's-
balance.
So
to
it's kind of
this.
like you're absolutely able to, or you're absolutely allowed to have a bad day.
right.
Mhm.
Here's what you can do.
Here's
Here's a list of things that are not appropriate. Here's a
Right.
list of things that are appropriate.
yeah.
If you feel like
you
you
know-
need to share it with me, here are ways that I'm
Exactly.
open to sharing this.
Right. Like you can be angry and talk about what's happened.
Yeah.
And I'll try to do a better job of being attentive to you and hearing you and listening about your day. But I don't want you to aim that same emotional energy at me for things that are happening here. Like if you walk over and go, "Oh, the dog's not got water again? Fucking great. Great job, Darth." And it's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, asshole. Like I didn't spit in your sandwich today. Like
Right.
that was your coworker, man. You're not, El Guapo, is it possible that you are not mad at me, LFA? Is it possible that you and your advanced learning?" Yeah, so I agree with that. But, I just would, again, I would nudge you, Darth, just let's be careful with words like gaslighting. They get thrown around on the internet right now. They're used to dehumanize and disqualify other people's perspectives. If we were doing if you wrote in to say, "Get 'em, guys," comments on my partner and how they're so gaslighty, you've listened to enough of our show to know we probably weren't going to do that. But like we get into the weeds of it and think, wow, here's where you're coming from. Here's where this person's coming from. How could we try to get you both closer to understanding and mutual understanding? I don't want to see them get discounted as merely a gaslighter, a gaslighting ninja. Like there's some kind of, and that's another thing. The phrase gaslighting, it assumes this like malevolence in other people that I don't like. The same thing that the dehumanizing words like narcissism and sociopath and all these other words are meant to do. It implies that like this other human is like staging a heist to like ruin your life and is plotting your demise and knows that they're doing it. And I just dislike that.
I disagree with that. I'm going to push back on that just a little bit. Eat that Three Musketeer, because there doesn't necessarily have to be a malevolent end goal,
right,
for the person doing the gaslighting to be gaslighting
That's a good
someone.
point.
There doesn't have to be that like I am actively my
Right.
goal is to actively ruin your life.
Muhahaha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be like an evil person with their
Drawing up my
fingertips
plan on my
drumming together.
overhead projector.
So, do you have a thought on if Darth is just right, and their partner is kind of doing this? Again, not with a malevolent intent,
Right.
but that's just the rhythm that they have fallen into.
It's unhelpful. I'll say that. So like if I were talking to both these people and Darth was like,
I
"Look,
feel like I'm really moving things along today.
you're doing great, bud.
Yeah. I'm
I mean,
going to pat myself on the back a little bit there.
You're A+.
Yeah.
Best
You know
audio
what?
guy on this show. Yeah,
Give
give
him
him another
another Three
musketeer.
Musketeers.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hey, you're right. Just one though.
Thank you.
I,
Oh.
yeah.
like-
that
yeah, I was like-
was really cool. I got it in
Yeah.
his mouth like
It's
that.
like-
That was really awesome.
It's like training a puppy.
Yeah. I think it's because we have this bag of candy. We
Yeah,
just
he-
leave this in the studio.
I'm still going to be
start
on the
being
floor.
more helpful.
He might be a therapist yet.
That's right. We'll keep working on it. So yeah, no, I agree. I think that
I can't do the pay cut.
if I
Yeah.
yeah, it's true. if we were sitting with both those people, I think that would be the angle of attack, is saying, look, let's talk about what is each of you is not feeling heard. Each of you is feeling misunderstood. I want to believe that when partner is saying these things, that is a good faith statement from partner. Partner is saying, I feel stifled. I don't feel that I have permission to be in my truth because that truth, that emotion is inconvenient to you, Darth. Okay. I don't think that's gaslighting because I want to believe that partner is trying to tell their truth.
Mhm.
And so if I'm coming in trying to therapize that, then I'm interested in getting each person to hear each other's truth. And as Nick said, get past these like distorted perceptions of the other person and really trying to humanize the empathy. I want to get to empathy and then start talking about, okay, well, what do we need to happen differently, right? How do we be productive with it? So,
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think that maybe this person is very manipulative.
yeah, I mean, we only
the
know
other
so
thing
much.
could also just be emotional intelligence,
Yeah, right.
which I'm not using intelligence as like intelligent versus
Awareness.
stupid,
Yeah.
right? It's awareness
Yeah.
is what it is. And it does sound like the partner does kind of lack some emotional awareness.
Could be. Yeah.
And definitely doesn't have a great way of expressing it.
Right.
So I mean, hypothetically,
Yeah.
let's just say you've got both of them in
And the other person
Couples.
doesn't. Yeah.
couples counseling.
Yeah.
How would you address this?
I think it's getting them to slow it down and come back to that, to raise emotional intelligence. That's where I want to start. So I would sit down with partner with both of them and I'd say, okay, Darth, explain to me when partner comes in with sort of the muddy shoes of their emotional day, tromping them all over your life. Tell me how that affects you. Give me an emotion vocabulary word from this list that I've provided and tell me what you feel. And I'd want Darth to explain. Yeah, discouraged, distraught, defeated, a little resentful, a little mad, a little surprised, a little cut off guard, using all these new phrases. And I want partner to like humanize that, to take a beat to go, okay, look, I'm not going to discount you. I'm not going to go into defensive mode. I'm going to take a beat and say, I can understand what that must feel like. I've been in situations where another person has backed up a dump truck of bullshit and dumped it all over me. And now I'm covered in dust and muck. And now that's on me and that's affected my day. I know what that feels like. You're not crazy for feeling that way. And then I would want partner to then offer more insight by saying something like, but the truth is, I don't have anybody else to talk to in my life. You're my person. And when I come home, I do feel better when I digest this with you. And I want to feel safe to do that. I don't want to feel like I'm an inconvenience to you and I only have to be the happiest version of me. And, that's not fair either. Okay, great. Now we're doing therapy, right? Now we're both sitting here. We're working it out. We're doing the emotional yoga of expression. That's meaningful, and it develops that understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Great question. This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we would like you to go to couples therapy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Shit. Dude, he's all right, fuck. Here's another one.
There's another one.
There's another one. Jesus.
I'm
man.
going to stockpile these over here.
God damn.
He's going to have that whole bag before we're done.
I know, yeah. Let's throw the fucking bag. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss what's happening in my therapist's head. You're listening
Not
to
much.
Pod Therapy.
Spoiler.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Byler, T, Harris, Team Monaco, and Oscar Swarnos. Would you like to sponsor the show? Become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy. Hey, Nick, Jacob, and Jim. After the recent car trivia, I was inspired to write a few more questions.
Ooh.
I'm amused at how little you guys know about cars.
We got the
so
car
I'm
trivia?
doing another round of car trivia.
Wait, how little we know. Jacob aced it. He crushed the whole thing.
I did well at car. What the car trivia?
God
This was
damn,
the
brother,
movie
we got to do
cars.
something. You need some ginkgo, bud.
Oh, the movie car.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you said movie cars, I would have got it. I thought. I was
wait,
like,
is that what the trivia's about?
Yeah,
I thought
remember?
No,
The first one was the Batmobile. And the
Yeah.
second
Oh,
one-
movie car. I thought you meant
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Pixar movie Cars.
No.
Disney's
No.
Cars.
Oh,
Okay.
that could have been a question.
That would have been a good one.
I
yeah.
think so. This is from Cody, the
DeLorean
the
guy.
DeLorean guy.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
he got tagged on the Discord after the last trivia, and then all of a sudden there was this sharing spree of pictures and like discussion.
Oh yeah,
about the
I
DeLorean.
saw that.
Apparently, it's like a really high idle rate. I guess that was like a whole thing, like one of the highest idle rates of all time. All right, read the
Oh
trivia.
yeah, because I think I said. I think I said I didn't really know the numbers, but like they had
Yeah.
to replace the
The
instrument
speedometer,
cluster and
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Great,
Yes.
great, good.
Yep. All right. What animal is on the Porsche logo? A, bull. B, horse. C, lion. D, eagle. E, jaguar.
Oh, geez, dude. Well, it isn't Jaguar because there's a car called Jaguar.
That's a shame because none of the options were the animal that I thought
That
might
you
be on
thought
the
it
Porsche
was?
logo.
I
Well,
think it's
okay.
a bull.
All right, so you don't know the answers, right?
No, I don't. Yeah.
All right,
I don't
I'm gonna watch me do this.
Okay,
I'm gonna remove
Okay.
Jaguar because there's a car called Jaguar.
good.
Okay.
I'm gonna remove the horse because there's a car called Mustang.
Made by Polly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I shall never forget.
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy, I've heard. He's a great leather jacket. And then the other options are eagle, bull,
Lion.
and lion. I think it's a lion doing this with his hands. He's got like the crawly hands.
Describe your hands.
He's doing the Thriller dance.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Is a lion doing the Thriller dance.
that was a better description than I thought you were going to get.
What's
of what
the
your
car
hands were doing.
type again? Is it a Ferrari?
Oh, Porsche.
Oh shit.
Is it Porsche?
Porsche. Yeah,
Porsche. Yeah.
I think
Okay. I don't know.
that's how I say it.
Eagle, a bull.
I
or-
Americanized it.
It's
so.
probably the lion. I'm going with the lion doing the
Okay.
Thriller pose.
I think it's horse because I think Porsche and Ferrari both have a horse in their logo.
Huh.
Oh,
You went with
shit.
bull?
Here we go.
All
I
right.
did.
The great reveal is upon us.
It is a horse.
Oh, ripping off Mustang.
Son of a bitch. P.S. It's pronounced Porsche.
Bonus
point. Damn.
Bonus point.
Cody thought of everything. Cody
right.
knew we
He
wouldn't be able
knows
to
us.
read good. I like how the people write in trivia assuming we will fuck up the questions themselves.
By the way, good assumption.
Yes.
Keep making that assumption.
Just it's so predictable. We're so bad at things. All right, so who got that one? The Jacob.
I did.
Damn, dude, he's just
And the bonus
smoking this
point.
thing.
Yep.
Okay, nobody gave you a bonus point. That
I
was just
gave me a
PS.
bonus point.
God, he's just drunk with musketeers. All right, what's happening in my therapist's head from Adam Rabiznik, spelled like it sounds. Dear Pod Therapy guys, your show helped me get into therapy, and it's been helping me a lot. Thank you. Something happened during my last session, and I'm curious how you guys feel when this happens with your patients. I came to a realization about something in my life during the week and reported on this to my therapist during my session. The details about my realization are not important. As I was telling my therapist about it, I remembered that months ago, she told me the same thing a few times. At the time, I dismissed her as missing the mark. Now, here I am, months later, after figuring it out for myself, agreeing with what she had said originally. When I said that I realized that I came to the same conclusion she tried to tell me months ago, she just nodded in agreement. I was curious how she felt in that moment and how she may feel when other patients figure out that she was right all along. But I didn't think it was appropriate to put her in a position where she may have to bend the truth. Since I'm sure this has happened to you guys plenty of times and neither of you are my therapist, I'm asking you, how do you feel when a patient suddenly discovers something that you tried to get them to see for a long time? Are you happy that they seem to be going down the right path? Are you frustrated that it took them so long to see what was right in front of them? Is there a feeling of, I told you so? What are your thoughts? Thanks, Adam Ribikzik.
Spelled like it
So-
sounds.
Spelled like it sounds.
Can I guess?
Some people.
Yeah, let's hear Jacob's thought on that.
I'll give you a chance.
No,
but,
I have a guess.
some people have a jingle.
That they can use every time they were right.
Yes.
Yeah. Those
Those
people
of
are
us-
drunk with power.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
of us without a jingle.
Us commoners.
I have refrained from using my jingle once.
us plebs without jingles. Yeah.
What is your guess? What do you think?
I believe that you are happy that they have gotten to that realization and that they are
Wrong.
going down. Hold on.
Idiots.
I'm not done. I believe you're happy that they've gotten to that and going down that path. And I believe that it's also not exactly an "I told you so" in your mind, but a bit of a self affirmation, maybe a reaffirmation of like, good, I still know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Is he right?
Yeah. Well, for me, yeah, I think that's true. I mean, so I think that this is super common. It's not weird. I mean, for us, I don't think that we would look at it. Even if you were sitting at a table of other therapists and you told the story and said, yeah, I was telling Adam this and, this much time went by and yeah, he recently actually circled back around to that conclusion. We wouldn't look at you and be like, wow, you're a really good therapist. We look at you and go, great. So things are going well then. Yeah, it's about on track. It's about where it should be. Wonderful. What's your next step? Like that's really where we're at. Like none of us would be that impressed because that's kind of the gig. Like the gig is we should be helpful, but we can't just walk over and deliver information because you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
We can hint at information. A lot of times we plant seeds of options or thoughts that we're hoping you will eventually consider, but we know that today's not that day. And so like we're dropping ideas down or sometimes like your therapist did, straight up acknowledging them, but not forcefully. We're letting you passively wave your hand at them and go, no, that's not okay. Yeah, sure. Just, trying on that hat for size. And then later on you pick it up and go, this hat fits me just fine. And you go, oh, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that worked for you. But we don't want it to be our idea. And
Yeah, yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
it's not. Like, we had some guesses that we thought would be helpful, or we thought these might be useful ideas for you, or you might land on these conclusions. We obviously don't have any gift of prophecy here, but we're throwing out things that feel right based on our experience. And then when you wander through that gate and you go, hey, this worked out just fine. Honestly, Adam, it's not, for me at least, and I think for most of our colleagues, it's not I told you so. It's not frustration. It's expectation.
Yeah.
You got there. You got there in your time. And I think for us, we're kind of going, oh, great. Today was that day. Awesome.
Also,
let's
like,
keep
cool.
going.
We can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. For us, it's really, I think, relief. I think it's the satisfaction of the ball going in the hole. You know, like, yeah, that's where I was hoping it would go. And it did. And awesome. This is great. And so when Adam said that his therapist just said, oh, wonderful. You know, yeah. And it's like, hey, I landed on that idea that you told me a long time ago. Yeah, okay, great. But, like, it would be counterproductive if we went, yeah, you dummy, you know, like, or even if we belittled you or teased you and been like, yeah, you know, I told you a long time ago, but you didn't listen to me. We don't like that because that overpowers the therapist, which is not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
I would be a bad therapist if every one of my patients thought, wow, Jim's a really good therapist. He's so smart. He figures shit out so far in advance and tells me things, and he knows everything. That would be a very bad therapist because it disempowers the patient.
Mm-hmm.
The best therapists have a subtle touch that nudge you in the direction you're going. They influence you, but you're the one doing it. And ultimately, they also give you the freedom to fail. You can completely defy the direction they're hoping you go, and they'll follow you wherever you go and then nudge you back on course when they can. But it's your journey. We want you to land it. And when you land it and you look at us and go, oh, you did this, we're going to go, oh, no, we really didn't. You know, you did it. I'm really glad you did. Congratulations. How did you manage to do that? You know, and just pivot it back to you.
I mean, I always want the client, even if it's something that I feel like a seed that I planted.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's always been a favorite analogy of mine, is just planting seeds.
Yeah.
Because that is really all I ever try to do.
Right.
And then when it actually sprouts, they can take ownership for it.
Right.
Because that's the most important thing, is I don't want them coming back and being like, oh, wow, Nick, you were so right about this thing.
Right.
Because then there's no ownership.
They're not doing the work.
Exactly. If I say something and kind of plant that seed, and then later on they realize, they're like, oh, you know what? I just discovered this.
Right.
Like, I discovered, or I just learned.
Yeah.
That I love, because that's like, okay, good. I'm doing my job because they're figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of throw the puzzle pieces down, let them play around with it a little bit, and they see the big picture.
Right.
Right. And then they get to discover that, and then they got full ownership of it. Now, it's not always that way.
No, not at all.
Because I work in drug and alcohol treatment.
Right.
So there's sometimes it's kind of like, I'm not a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Some of this is just plain
Dumb
common
luck.
sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Common sense.
Like I get a client.
I think if you break the law, you might go
Well,
to
yeah,
jail.
like-
How did he know?
Yeah.
Or like,
you know,
hey, I know you're not drinking right now. I
Yeah.
bet you're going to again
Yeah,
before
yeah.
this is all said
Well,
and
yeah,
done.
I
or
bet
like-
you something bad happens
like
if you do
you've
that.
been in rehab, in a residential facility for 30 days. You're
Yeah.
checking out tomorrow night. What are you gonna do? Like, oh, I'm gonna go to a rave.
Yeah. Pretty sure
No,
you're gonna get
but
high,
I'm not
bud.
gonna use.
Yeah.
And they come back like, man, I
Man,
used. Like,
you're not gonna
oh
believe
my
what
God,
happened.
really?
No.
Right.
I
Nick
didn't
just
see that
falls over.
coming.
Yeah. Or whenever they
Yeah.
don't have a plan and you're like, so man, you're going to finish the program. We're really proud of you. What's your next step? Yeah, man, I'm good. I think I'm just going to, get back to work, get back to my family.
Like
Where are you
nothing
gonna
ever
stay?
happened.
Yeah. Are you going to go
You're
to
gonna keep
meetings?
staying with your friend?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Are you going
Yeah.
to a step down program? You going to IOP? Who's your therapist? I think I'm going to take a break from the whole treatment thing for a while. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
See you in 3 months.
Yeah.
Because you'll be right back here
I
again.
know where that goes. Yeah.
And it's like, not a sorcerer, just it's predictable.
Yeah.
It's kind of gravity. Like,
Playing the odds.
I'm gonna step off this cliff. All right, I'll see you at the bottom. Like you get down there. How did you know? Yeah, gravity.
But
It'd be like that.
I don't think a lot of therapists that I know anyway, I don't think a lot of therapists look at a situation like this and think, ha, I knew it.
Right.
I told you this was going to happen or anything like that.
That'd
I
be
think,
hilarious if they did that.
yeah.
If they do, they're rookies.
Well, and they're
That's-
not going to last long in the
They
field.
wouldn't do well.
They're not.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell
They're
you what
too
happens.
impressed with themselves.
Here's what happens is they don't last long in the field because if they take ownership
Yeah.
for stuff that they don't own,
Yeah.
then that also includes things that go the other way too.
Yeah.
They also accept blame for stuff that's
Yep.
not their fault, and they
Yep.
burn out, and they don't last long in the field.
Yes.
I used again, and you didn't tell me I was going to use again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I should have told you.
Right.
Yeah. That's
So
just-
here's
And
an
they're
not
going
good.
to go home and beat themselves up about it.
Exactly.
Here's
Yeah.
another example to piggyback on substance abuse. So in history, I had a case once where I had a woman come in, and she was initially coming in saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm attracting really bad men, and I want to deal with that. I want to fix me so that I don't keep attracting these narcissistic men." And I'm like, "Okay, great, let's deal with that, right?" So I'm listening to her
And Jim just punched her right in the face.
right in the chin.
Uglied her up.
Shut. So I'm like, all right, let's talk about your pattern, right? And so she's telling me about her tale of woe and several relationships and how bad they were, and she was just coming out of a really tough one. And so she's coming in hot. She's got all this stuff, emotion. It's right there. It's at the front of her mind. And as I'm listening, I can tell she has what sounds an awful lot like maybe like a borderline pattern in relationships. Getting in way too deep, way too fast. I love you, I love you, I love you, can't live without you. Disproportionately prizing that relationship, allowing too much joining, poor boundaries. And then down the road, partner will do something that is offensive or bad or whatever, and then this patient would immediately pivot, walk away very abrasively, very quickly, explosive, get away from me, I can't handle you. And so, some of that pattern, I don't like to label things, but sure, there is a pattern to that. Sometimes we call that pattern borderline. So as I'm hearing that, I can't look at the patient that day and go, hey, it's not them, it's you. You have borderline personality disorder or something that sounds an awful hell of a lot like it. Let's start doing DBT and let's work on that and we'll make it all better. She was not emotionally capable of that. She's coming in hot. She's in pain. She's looking at all these outward influences and she feels that she's been the victim of them. And honestly, on that day, she's asking me, hey, do you think I'm dating narcissistic personality disorder people and sociopaths? I read it on the internet. And I'm like, great. And so that day, we're not getting there, right? One day in my treatment, I'm hoping, not that she lands on a diagnosis of borderline, but that she realizes, hey, Jim, I have this pattern. I probably need to work on that too. That doesn't excuse these people and how they've treated me. But the only thing I have under my control is this, right? I can't pre-screen it. Because right now she's talking about pre-screening people with narcissism or whatever to make sure she can never possibly date them. And like, that's
Can
not
I
where we
bring
need
all
to
my
go.
dates in here and you can just
Right.
talk to
And
them?
that's the conversation is like, how do I make sure this never happens again?
Well,
What are
then
the
Jim's
dark
like-
triad traits?
Jim's
that
like,
should
well,
be
I
looking
do
for?"
bill by the hour. So bring me
Yeah.
what you want.
Come on in. I'll just book my day. And so like in that moment, in those first sessions, I'm dropping seeds like you were talking about. I'm starting with, tell me more about your relationships. And then little tiny revelations of like, oh, that relationship moved a little fast, huh? Well, yeah. Sounds like you catch feelings pretty hard when you catch feelings. Oh, yeah, I do. Would you describe yourself as somebody who loves really hard? Yeah, definitely. Okay, was that just this guy? Was he kind of unusual? No, I think historically people would describe me as a person who loves really hard. Okay, cool. And so like, again, just leaving those on the shelf. We're going to come back to those later. We just put some pieces together. I'm going to leave it on the floor. Eventually you're going to know what to do with that, right?
Yeah.
And so like over time, I'm breadcrumbing all these ideas, just leaving them there. But then eventually there is this full circle. And with this was a real case that happened over years. And I remember when this case finally went full circle and this person kind of breadcrumbed it all out and they were starting a new relationship. I had been with them through one breakup in the downtime where they reconstructed and now they were getting into a new relationship and they were starting to do those patterns. And, so then I would carefully choose my words and I'd say, oh, tell me about this new person you met. Oh my gosh, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, wow. Sounds like you've really fallen hard and fast on this one. Yeah. Okay. Boy, that kind of blew up in your face before, huh? Yeah. and then, kind of like with Adam, like she starts going, huh. Okay, so I probably need to be like really careful with this. Like, I think I'm
Right,
going to do
yeah.
it differently. Like, okay, do you think you should? Because okay, let's do that. Let's try it differently. Let's work together to make that different. And so like she backed into it, but very similar to Adam, she brought it up at one point and was like, hey, Was I the thing? Like, were you saying this back then? It wasn't like that. It was more like she realized it all at once and was like, I think I was the thing. Like, those were also bad people, but I didn't have good boundaries to screen bad people because I was just falling in love really hard and wasn't doing any kind of personal, like, boundary setting or anything like that. It's like, oh, yeah, that might have been it. Okay, cool. And she's like, did you know that? Like, did you know that back then? It's like, I don't know. We learned it together, right?
Yeah.
Because if I just take credit for that and I'm like, yeah, no, I saw it. It turns out I went to school for this and I'm really good at it. That disempowers the patient.
Yeah.
Now she can't take that victory and apply it to this next relationship, which is what I want her to do. And so it's this careful kind of like you said, planting seeds, breadcrumbing, dropping clues, allowing the person to try on these clothes that you're laying out for them, to take these little pieces of the puzzle that you've been dropping around, assemble it into a picture and go, I think I've got a corner of this puzzle now. I think I can build from here. Awesome, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who takes credit for that. I really want them to take credit for that because that empowers our work.
Yeah.
That lets them be more successful going forward.
Anyway, we have to learn things in a way that will make sense to us.
Right.
And I've learned this outside of working in therapy.
Right.
I've learned this through golf
Mhm.
and through now personal training.
Is there anything golf can't do?
Honestly, man, it just seems to
There
keep
really
showing
isn't.
up.
No, but like I've had lessons before where I've had multiple instructors telling me the same thing, and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck that means.
Okay.
And I'll ask questions, and they'll try to explain it. And then I went to one coach, and he said, imagine you're standing on ice, and your feet are moving like this. And then all of a sudden, everything clicked. I was like, oh my God.
That's what they were telling me.
Yeah. And then like the same thing now
you,
with
golf.
thank you, golf. Which we don't think enough on this show.
Yes.
But
Praise
now
be to
like
golf.
doing like personal training,
Mhm.
same thing. Like I'll tell somebody multiple times, like,
Right.
okay, you're doing this with your back in this movement. You need to
Yeah.
do this. Doesn't understand. Okay, you
Okay.
need to retract your shoulder blades. Doesn't understand. Doesn't
Right.
understand. Until finally I will put my hand, my lengthwise on their back
On
between their shoulder
spine.
blades.
Yeah.
On their spine. And like squeeze my hand.
Yeah, right. Now they're
And then they
getting
do it. They're like,
Right.
oh, yes. Okay, do that in the movement.
Right.
Oh, and then it
Seeing
clicks.
it click, but that
But
they
it's-
own it now.
Exactly.
It's their knowledge.
Yes.
You assisted and bumped it in their direction. They picked it up and used it, and now it's theirs. They own it. And so regardless of the fact that you were there to train them, to teach them, to breadcrumb that or to lay out that knowledge, I don't think that we look at that and like, yep, keep coming back. I have all the answers.
Yeah.
That disempowers. We don't want to do that.
Right.
So like Adam's therapist did, I think, exactly what you and I would do in that situation. Was like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Cool.
That's great. Oh, so that turned out to be pretty useful. Awesome. Let's
Cool.
work with that. Now
Next
that we
thing.
know that,
Yeah.
let's use that.
And here's the thing too. Your therapist can use that same technique with their next client,
Right.
and it may not work.
Right. We
Because
adapt it to the
all-
person.
Yeah, and there's been multiple clients I've done that with where I've had to explain something 4 or 5 times,
Right.
but it was like the 6th time I did, and every time is different, right?
Yeah.
And the 6th time it clicked. It just happens.
For rookie therapists, Nick said something earlier on that I didn't zoom in on, but now I'm going to because rookies need to hear this. Nick talked about if you take credit for the victories, you're going to take credit for the failures at some point. That is so true, and that's a rookie move because at some point you just are having a great connection with a patient. They're hitting some milestones, and they're very kind about it, and they're effusive, and they say, "You're really good at this. I'm so glad I found you." Like, wow, and as any professional, to be praised for what you do and to watch this person be so happy with your work and making progress, of course you glow inside. And in a rookie therapist, and I'm sure I did it early in my career, you get so excited and you kind of want to just like, yeah, thanks. I did give you that idea 3 months ago. And yeah, I did see that pattern really quickly. And yeah, I did notice you doing that. And yeah, I did kind of breadcrumb this. And yeah, you finally got it. And I'm so glad you got it. Awesome, and like there's a victory lap mentality of like, yeah, you're the only person that can behold my expertise. None of my colleagues will know what I did in this room. There is no studio audience. Nobody can know this. A surgeon could be a fucking awesome surgeon, and there's 5 other surgeons in that same room, and nurses and OR specs, and everybody's going, wow, you're a miracle worker. How did you do that? And it's like, haha, I'm really good at this. I got a lot of affirmation just now. Therapists work in the dark. Like, and a lot of times our work is hidden even from the person receiving it if we're really good at it. And so it's thankless in that way, which isn't sad. It is what it is. It's obscure. It's done in the shadows. But like when it finally rises to people's consciousness, there is this naivety among new professionals to finally be like, yes, you see it, right? I'm pretty good at this. Oh, I'm so glad you saw me do it. Yeah. But that is dangerous, as Nick was
100%.
saying, because now down the road, if something goes wrong, it's like, hey, omniscient one, why didn't you catch this? Why didn't you blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, not only that, though, but even forget the client.
Right.
Just from the therapist's view of themselves.
Yeah, you paint yourself into a corner.
Yeah, because if I am responsible for all their successes,
yes,
what happens when they fail?
Right.
Who's responsible for that? Because that goes both ways.
It can hurt you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because and that's the danger of this as new therapists. This is the real danger of it, is you start to think that you have control over shit you have no control over.
No.
And then when my client relapses,
right,
like,
I did
oh shit.
Yeah,
this
you
is
take
my
too
fault.
much control and you disempower the patient. And it also has another backlash effect where you're not being curious anymore.
Yeah.
You're being dictatorial. You're telling them, I'm a professor. I already know. Come to me for my wisdom. If you in the therapist chair are doing more teaching than wandering, you're doing it wrong. If they come to you to sit at your feet for you to be some all-knowing guru who tells them things, trust me, you are going to do bad at this, and your patients aren't going to succeed because they could learn from a fucking book. Yeah. There are YouTube talkers better than you. There are professors better than you. There are book writers better than you. There are TED Talks better than you. They don't need your stupid ass.
Then you need to build a shack someplace really at the top of a mountain.
Right. Yeah. Get up there and charge a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're coming one time. Yeah. And you're going to make a living on that. You got to teach them once. That it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You will be an effective therapist when you go back to those first Rogerian skills of attending to this person, being empathic, being genuine, being a mirror that they can become completely unguarded in the presence of and reveal to themselves, that they could be perfectly understood by another human, which requires you to not be all-knowing. It requires you to fumble with them in the dark and to explore. And that means successes, we both look at them and go, great, that's working. Let's do more of that. Failures, it means we both look at them and go, oh no, that's not working. Yep. What should we do differently? And like, you have to be willing to get a step behind them and let them walk ahead of you a few paces. And not just tell them where to go, or when they go, I found the thing. Did you put this here for me to find? Yeah, I'm a genius. No, we don't do that. We go, I'm so glad you found the thing. Oh, yeah, you referenced this at one point. Oh, did I? Okay, great. Well, awesome. I guess we were both looking at the same direction. That's great. Where do we go next? Let's use that thing now. So anyway, Adam, I'm glad that you had that. I'm glad that you took this win. I'm glad for you and your therapist. I'm glad that this show inspired you to do that. Unlike your therapist, we will take complete credit for your success.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already have.
It. Yeah. Jacob is already writing a note to himself.
Yeah.
Take credit with everybody.
I did great with Adam.
Guys, can we all just thank each other? You guys, hey, both of you did a great job with Adam's case. Really great job.
You know what? Nick did such a good job. Give Nick a 3 Musketeers.
You know what? You get one of these babies.
You know what?
Break your diet.
There you go.
That's right. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody, great job. Adam,
quit judging
thanks
me over
for
there.
showing
I
up.
can see you looking at me.
He just keeps bringing up all these metaphors about you gaining weight. It's really weird. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about receiving gifts from your patients. Oh, God, that's stuff of my nightmares. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Byler T, Harris, Team Monaco, and Oscar Swarnas. If you'd like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer, patreon.com/therapy. Our second Cody question. In 2018, at an auction, a 1963 Ferrari 250 GTO set a record for the most expensive car ever sold.
Whoa.
What did it sell for? 30 million, 50 million, 70 million, 90 million, or $1 billion?
I am upset about all those.
I vaguely remember this happening, and again, none of the numbers that were in my head. were on the options.
I'm upset no
The
matter what
Ferrari
the answer
250 GTO was that was the one in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think.
What?
What year was it?
63. I don't know if the year was right.
I think,
but I think that
one of
was
Ferris
the car.
Bueller's was 80s. What model? I'm not looking up the answer. What model car is it?
250 GTO.
250.
Also, great movie. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout.
We used to
Twist and
make
shout.
fun
Come on,
make
come
fun
on,
of one of
come on,
my college
baby, yeah.
roommates
Yeah.
because we'd always ask him if he'd come out with us, hit the bar or whatever. And one time we were sitting at the bar and we said, basically reenacted that scene like, I know what he's doing. He's sitting in his car right now debating whether or not to come.
Oh, Cameron's
He'll
in
keep
there.
calling.
I'm just gonna keep.
He'll keep calling until I come over. This is stupid. I'll go.
I'll go.
The 250 GTO is not the one from Ferris Bueller. It's the one that's a straight up race car.
All right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the one that they would take to Le Mans.
But
and
I'd said
places
it with
like that.
confidence, though.
Yeah,
did.
It was very
Sure did
persuasive
that.
to me. I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
All
looks like the Speed Racer car.
Sure.
But
Yeah. So a race car.
I'm gonna go 70 million.
Duh. I'm
What-
going 30 because if it's anything above it, I'm upset.
What are the options again?
You're already upset. 30,
$30 million.
50, 70, 90,
Or
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
Wait, 90 million to 1 billion is quite a leap.
It is quite a leap.
So we
A
can probably
big
I
throw
just
out-
leap.
realized that we went from 90 million to
yeah.
1 billion.
Pluto
in the-
to
in
the
answers.
sun.
Yeah.
In size.
So
We just went $910 million difference.
Yep.
I will guess 90 million.
okay. What are you guys? Oh, 30.
I'm going low. I want
I'm
it
going-
to be.
I'm going
I'm
high,
upset
but
that
not
30
silly.
is the lowest number. I want it to be like $1 million. Like cars shouldn't be more. $1 million is too much for a car.
Nick's on the board. It's
Hey!
70 million.
Oh,
The
good
250
Lord.
GTOs were manufactured from 1962 to 64, and only 36 were built.
Wow.
Damn.
I knew that they were rare.
Wow. Okay.
Jeez,
okay.
dude.
For one thing, you don't get up into those numbers unless it's like single digits or something like
Good
that.
Yeah.
Lord.
Wow. Okay.
I'll bet you Jay Leno has one or Seinfeld. Those two dudes are always like fighting over.
I would almost bet that Jay Leno has one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
I don't think Seinfeld's car collection holds a candle to
I believe that
Leno's.
Yeah.
Seinfeld only collects Porsches. He seems to be very into Porsches.
I know comedians and cars getting coffee. Most of those cars were not his.
No.
Right.
Yeah, they're borrowed
Yeah.
from collectors,
Different things or whatever. Yeah,
Have you seen the episode where he has Jay Leno?
I've seen all of them. So
Okay, yeah. That is such a great episode. Leno's never had coffee before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's
that's right.
And he says
Yeah.
tastes like cat shit. Doesn't want it. He takes one sip and then he asks for like a Pepsi.
Yeah. That's funny.
It was really funny because they're both just like arguing over who's got better cars, and this is so fun. All right, last question for tonight: receiving gifts from patients from Anonymous. My wife was just leaving for her therapist appointment and collected a bunch of eggs for her therapist. I talk about my chickens so much, she said. I figure I should bring their eggs.
Oh,
Has a patient ever brought you a dozen eggs? Or are small gifts like this common? What do you do and how do you handle gifts from patients? Thanks, Anonymous.
that's very nice.
That is
That's
nice.
that's a sweet gesture.
Yeah, a dozen eggs.
Which is what makes it so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
What gifts have
Oh,
you
bro, I've
accepted?
gotten them all. So we should
Except
preface these
iPads.
stories.
Yeah.
It's fucking. I'm out. I'm done. Fuck the show. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna go to the bar. So we should preface our answers by just taking a beat to say, this is not uncommon.
Oh,
And
no, yeah.
It's so not uncommon. It's actually an entire platform in all of our ethical codes. No matter what your discipline is, they take a second in all those codes to say, when this happens, this is how you shall respond to this, because it's extremely common. So as a general rule, we are discouraged. We're forbidden from soliciting anything from a patient, which honestly has annoyed a lot of my patients. Like I've had patients that will say, hey, Jim, we're not going to our Raiders tickets this weekend. why don't you take your family? We've got our box seats. Or I told you about that one years ago where VGK was in the playoffs and it was the finals. And my patient calls me. He's like, hey, I can't get there. I have season tickets. I have box seats. They're yours. Take your family. Get to the finals. Like, enjoy yourself. Can't accept that. And so, like, I have turned.
Can't you though?
I know, right? Wasn't it? We lost
Stanley Cup
anyway.
final.
We lost.
You
I'd have
could
been
have given
pissed.
him my number.
Yeah, no, I can't go, but my associate Jacob would be happy to
That's
receive
right.
on my. So, it is kind of
The life
forbidden.
coaching ethics is a lot different.
Very, very
Yeah.
fluid.
Our ethics are very fluid.
This happens a lot. Or you'll have people that work in different industries. They work in cars, and they'll be like, hey, come in here. I'll cut all the red tape for you. I will get you my discounted price. Like, I'll get you the real price or whatever. They own something, a business.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, I have furniture. Would you like this? Whatever. And so in our ethical codes, we are forbidden from soliciting anything. You should never use your influence to ask for anything. And then when people are trying to give them to you, anything of value, your default should be no. Your default should be no. And it really makes me mad because I've had several patients just in the last couple of years offer me a lot of sports tickets. And now we have more and more sports teams. And they're like, come do this, whatever. And I'll say, oh, no, I can't do that. And it's funny because a particular patient was so baffled by this. Because I think I was telling them, like, oh, I'm going to this sports game. I'm really excited. And they were like, oh, where are your seats? And I was like, oh, I don't know, around here, I think. And they were like, okay, I'm going to send my butler to come get you. And, like, you're going to go to this. You're going to take our seats. Like, of course you're not. And I was like, no, I really can't accept that. And they're like, you're going to be at the game. It's not a big deal, man. Like, I'm not there. My seats are literally empty.
there.
You're already there.
Yeah.
I'm sending the host to get you. Like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I already know where your seats are. And I was like, I don't want to make it weird, but I have to strenuously decline this.
So you should explain why.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a beat to get into that, but I just want to
Okay.
take a second to finish that story that it was funny because this patient was so baffled because they were like, yeah, my cardiologist takes them.
Yes.
My dentist takes them. Like, all of my healthcare professionals that I work with take them. Like, I offer this to lots of people because I like them and because I have them and I don't care. And so I'm a little confused. And then I had to explain. In psychotherapy land, we don't, because we are in a position to manipulate you. Your dentist doesn't have that same
you can
lever.
Probably have sex with your dentist.
It probably won't affect your ability to
Yeah.
get dental work.
Yeah.
Right?
He
Also,
still knows-
if
he
you,
still
if you
knows where the
haven't had
cavity is,
sex in one of those dentist chairs that have the buttons and everything,
You
so you can,
haven't
like,
lived.
get in your own positions and whatever,
Oh man,
do it.
you got the lights, you got the toys, you got the splashy
The
wand
armrest
thing.
just folds out.
Just go. Just oh, right there.
Give me some. Give
Love
me that
it.
little vacuum. Give me that vacuum.
Woo! Yes, that's a good time. Anyway, have sex with your dentist. So, other professions, they can do their professional work, and their professional work won't probably be very influenced by gifts, and their professional work can't necessarily result in gifts.
Yeah.
If I'm just gonna get your cavities, right? And like, I'm not gonna do a better job or a lesser job based on the gift.
Ethically, I think that
It's probably gray
They're not
for all
exactly in the same boat, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's a little gray.
They're
Because
in dark waters.
They are definitely still doing something that most of us don't understand,
right.
and can if they are an unethical person,
Right.
they can very easily, charge for
gets weird.
additional dental work that I don't necessarily need or something like
Right.
that. But that's not exactly it's not the
It's
same.
definitely gray water. For
Yeah.
us, it's forbidden. And the reason why, and I do this, I've had this happen on the podcast where somebody will show up as a patient. They'll go, hey, I listened to the show. And I'll be like, okay, cool. And then at some point they might be like, hey, I was going to patron. And I'll tell them, that's fine, but I'm going to ask you if we're going to work together professionally, I don't want you going any further than Therapod. You can go to Therapod because that's $5. It's not very much. And that's accessing additional content. And once you've done that, you've done that. There's no special extra content for other people. Like, you've done it. But I'm going to ask you not to go any further. And they'll say, like, well, why? And I'll say, because I can't sleep at night if I fear that our professional work together has influenced you to then go and add money to a hat that I have access to. That's a dual relationship to me. It gets too far in that direction. I don't like it.
You're right.
And
we
so-
should take Jim's access to that hat away.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just gonna say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's like,
We
would
can
it be
fix this.
easier
We can fix
if
this.
you didn't have
One
access
move.
to
We can
anything?
fix this very easily.
I'm not the treasurer. But no, this is a thing. And so with us receiving gifts, as a general rule, we're not supposed to. That's the first rule in the ethics code. But the ethics code also adds more and says, however, in many cultures, this is not a bribe. This is not you being a bad influencer. This is not toxic. It is an expression of the connection and the therapeutic relationship that you have. It is in alignment with this person's culture, and to refuse that gift could do damage to the therapeutic relationship. And so the codes say when that's apparent, you're allowed to take the gift.
So for the guy with the Golden Knights tickets, you should have just said, I need you to read this to me.
I have tried so
read
hard
this out loud
to justify it.
Just,
because it's funny. I've never
in
really
my culture,
gone for it.
As a Canadian, in my culture,
Right.
Giving away hockey tickets.
Giving away hockey
is
tickets
considered polite.
It's like shaking hands.
It's funny because I honestly have thought this, but I've never been able to like make this case convincingly enough to ease my own anxiety about it. Part of me thinks Vegas is a different kind of culture.
I was about to go that direction
kind of
precisely.
It very much is. People in the industry.
Yeah.
Like if Jacob said, "Oh, hey guys, you're coming with me to Absinthe tonight. We're going. Your spouses are coming. It's gonna be a great time."
Yeah.
We wouldn't go, "Oh my God." It's like, no. He's going to work.
Yeah.
He's in entertainment. There's some empty seats. He's bringing you along.
Well, I was
going to
say,
not a
like,
big deal.
The amount of freebies that I get
You give them out. Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or people come to you and go, "Hey man, you guys want to come check out this show?
Yeah.
Come over here."
It's like,
Do
here's
it.
4 tickets to the
You're
show.
coming. Yep.
Bring people, or don't bring people. Just give the 4 tickets away.
Yes.
Like whatever.
That is very Vegas. Like even growing up here in high school, we had kids in our school that worked at Blue Man Group just as like stagehands or whatever.
Right.
And then the Blue Man would just give them tickets
Sure.
every once in a while, be like, "We need to fill some seats, give these out to kids at your school." And so you just get comps and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to Blue Man for free." And like, or whatever, or restaurants or whatever going on. Or like you have people, my friend Garrett works in like liquor industry. And so like
Right.
he'll call us and go, "Hey, there's a new nightclub opening. We need bodies. You guys want to come hang out? We'll get you some free drink, get a table." Okay, so like, but these kinds of things happen so fluidly. So the argument could be made that in Vegas culture, I was really unethical to decline the tickets.
It's a solid argument.
Thank you. I think I'm
That's a
going
very-
to
I
need
think
you to
you're
write that
unethical
down
to not
on
send me the
letterhead.
tickets.
That would really help.
Yeah.
So the ethical burden writer is tricky because on one hand, we're kind of supposed to decline it unless it's kind of a custom thing, a culture thing, or if it's a really low value gift that doesn't feel manipulative and we're not making a habit out of it.
How do you feel about fresh
It comes
eggs?
into okay. So I have had this happen. Not the eggs. Have you ever seen The Wedding Singer with Drew Barrymore
Yeah.
and Adam
Yeah,
Sandler? How he's doing
the
singing
meatballs?
lessons. Yes.
Yeah.
And the old lady comes and she pays him in meatballs and she like plops them
Yeah.
in his hands and he's just like, "Thank you." And they're like, "You can't make a living being paid in meatballs." He's like, "I know," but she's like a sweet old lady.
That being said, I would like to get paid in meatballs.
Honestly, it's not a bad gig.
Yeah, I mean,
We can arrange that.
We could, yeah, oh yeah. Thank God he finally said that because I've been carrying around this vat of meatballs.
they better be good
for
though.
so long. You're gonna love it. It's extra spicy. So I had the most adorable woman once that was in her 80s, just a sweetheart, and she had a little garden in her backyard where she grew like lemons and stuff. And she was just the sweetest lady. And so she'd always be telling me about her lemons. And I'd be like, "That's so cute. That's great. How are your lemons doing?" And we just chat about them. And so obviously I'm enthusiastic about everything. And so one day she's like, "I brought you a gift." And I'm like, "Oh, I can't really take gifts." She's like, "I brought you lemons." And like, she brought me lemons from her tree. And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And so like, I took the shit out of those lemons. I was like, "Yeah, as long as I'm not taking obviously your entire haul of lemons."
Also, as
You brought
someone
me a
who
dozen
has lemon trees,
Yeah.
I give lemons away to anyone who
Yeah.
has
You
ever
throw them at
looked
homeless
like
people. I've
somebody
seen
who
you
might
do it.
want to.
Yeah.
I took a lemon today off of my tree and used it to clean my garbage disposal in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Meaning, I dropped a whole lemon down the garbage
Just
disposal.
to do it. Yeah.
And it gives it a nice citrusy smell in the kitchen.
Not a wrong size thing,
Yeah.
So I've had that happen. I've had
So you'd be okay
patients-
with the eggs?
Yes, I've had people make things. So like if they're making holiday treats,
Mm.
sometimes they'll bring something and be like, "Hey, I made fruitcake," or whatever. I had a patient make their own like marmalade, and they were like, "Hey, I made you one in a mason jar, and like I make them for friends and family. I just want to bring you one." Fine, little foodies.
Especially if it is prefaced with like, "Hey, I made 50 of these things to give away to all of my coworkers and everybody that I know, and here's one for you."
Here's that same idea on its head, though, because
Okay.
I've also had it happen where patient is, this was more when I was back in office, obviously, it doesn't happen now, but back in office, patient is on their way and texts me and says, "Hey, I'm swinging by Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get you something. What do you want? If you don't text me back, I'm just going to get you something I like." And that would always hurt me, right? Because I go,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't make this a habit.
Right.
And if I accept it, it's not a big deal. It's a $5 drink, but I'm normalizing that.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
want to, because I
Yeah.
don't want that to become our thing. For lots of reasons. But again, I don't like the manipulation.
Also, do you know how many calories are in a Frappuccino?
Come on, I can't just be doing this.
Yeah.
5 guys bringing this. So I've had that happen where somebody's brought it in and be like, oh, wow, thank you. Because if they bring it unannounced, I'll be like, oh, well, thank you so much for thinking of me. But I'll take a beat to say, hey, just so you know, no big deal, but like we're ethically not really allowed to do that. But thank you for thinking of me. I'm totally drinking this one.
I'm going to drink this.
Yeah, but I'm just going to ask you not to do it again just because, I need to be making sure I stay in my lane and never take from you. So I've had that. I've had little trinkets. I had somebody bring me a knife once. That was an interesting case. A really lovely person, and we had just been doing some really quality work, and he worked in like armed forces kind of thing, and said, I was using this as something I've used in my work, and it just means something to me. And like, I'm just really grateful for our work together. It's symbolic. I'd like you to have this. And so in that case, I had to do some really careful therapeutic work to say, I receive what you're trying to give me. I receive the heart that you're telling me. Your words mean everything to me. I can't receive a weapon from you, no matter how it's intended. But so he's
Could
like,
you just get your fingerprints on it then?
Yeah. Can you just
And then
smoosh
put it back in this
yeah,
plastic
can you
bag?
just lick the edge really quick? Can you do that? So like that was a tough one, but that was of all the people that I've ever had to decline something from, that one I could tell it hurt him.
Yeah.
That's
He was
like
crestfallen.
getting weirdly
Yeah.
close also to like cultural.
It is. It is.
Like
It is
military
right there.
culture
It
and
was right there.
brotherhood and all that kind
I
of
think
stuff.
I would have been. I think if I would have told Nick, "Hey, I did this," I think he probably would have defaulted on that side and said, "Yeah, I'll give it to you because of culture."
I think
and it's like a
because
pocket knife.
If it does more damage to deny it than it does,
then
to
I don't
accept
want
it.
you to deny it, right?
Right.
Right.
But you know what? In that one, it came out okay because he had just carved something with that blade.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I said, "Can I have that?" And he was like, it was like a little wooden thing that he had
So
literally
you're saying
carved
you
it apart.
solicited a gift?
I solicited a gift.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, "Okay, I'll give you this stick that I just whittled." And I was like, "Great,
Yeah.
thank you. This means more to me. Like, to me, it's about the memory
You
of
want
you."
this little wooden penis?
Yeah. You want this?
All right.
Whatever, man.
I really do.
You want this butt plug I made?
Yeah.
And, all right. Yeah. And Jacob immediately reaches on
Oh
his
yeah,
desk
he's got one.
and retrieves a wooden penis.
Yep.
Ah.
It's a bottle opener.
And it happens to also be a bottle
It's from the
opener.
Icelandic Penis Museum.
So,
Oh,
Nick,
nice.
have you ever had people bring in
know, I was
like
just-
gifts or trinkets or
I
little
know
thank
I
yous?
have.
We've gotten cards. People bring us like a card says thank
Yeah.
you, and sometimes they'll try to put a gift card in there. And,
Yeah.
and we've both done that where we open it and go, "Oh, thank you. Here's your gift card back." But
Well,
this
I've-
means everything to me.
I've had it too, where someone leaves the card,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know there's a gift
And
card.
you don't
in
know
there.
it. Yeah, and you're like,
You know,
"Oh, what do I
and
do with
like,
that?"
well, shit, now they're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I know I've had a bunch of little stuff, nothing ever really big. I've had people want to buy me stuff or give me things, but I've said no. The only thing I can think of at one point, I remember, and this is so little, it's not even worth mentioning. Really, it's kind of not valuable. But this is back in Iowa. Fleetwood Mac was in town, and one of my clients went, and she's a photographer. And so I was like, "Oh, how was the show? I love Fleetwood Mac," and started talking about Lindsey Buckingham's great guitar player and all this. And so she came back the next time and she had a picture, and it was a good picture, like a high quality
Uh-huh.
photo that she took of him up on stage. And she's like, "Yeah, here, you can have this."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Okay, well, this doesn't cost anything. Like, she's
Yeah,
a
it's just a
photographer.
photo. Like, it's
just
one of my
photo." So I was like,
copies. You can
"Yeah."
keep this.
So,
You know what? I had another one where a patient brought me a trading card of a football player, and that was a cultural moment for me in that case, because this person enjoyed trading cards, and it was an adult and had good collections that were valuable. At the time, I was a Panthers fan and was like, "Hey, I came across this whenever I was doing my kind of weekly runs on stores, and it's a Panthers player, and it's in a cool little case, and I got this for you, man." And like in that moment, of course, I had my first flash of like, "Ugh, this has more value than a cup of coffee." Like I don't feel good about it. It's not like a collector's item that's like, "Oh my God, this will, your children will inherit this."
Yeah.
But like it had more value than I felt comfortable with. But I also really understood this person's particular nuanced culture, and I knew that this it would not be healthy for me not to take that.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking it, but using it as a decoration in my office.
Oh, yeah.
And so that way, when the patient would come, they'd see that
See
it was an ornament on my desk.
Yeah.
Thank you for decorating my office with this cute little thing. And I often have done that. Like the lemon lady brought me, when I moved into a new office, brought me like decorations that she had stopped at like Hobby Lobby. She's like, you got a new office. Here you go. And she's like the sweetest person in the world. Was like, well, these are going on the walls right now. Like Dreamcatcher over here and this thing. And just because it was adorable. And like, again, not going to hurt her. Like, yep, you're 90.
This
I'm just
doesn't
gonna
go with my
decorate.
decor at all.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Grandma? Like, no, we decorated with it. So, but it sounds like for you, same basic principles.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't think of anything big that I've ever gotten.
We've also had people that will say, "Hey, you need this professional service. Your website needs help, or whatever. Do you want to do something where I can take care of that for you and like?" Instead of like paying me, we just kind of keep a balance sheet of like, that way I'm not paying you for therapy and then you're paying me for website services. Why don't we? And so we actually have that in our codes too.
Yeah.
We call it bartering.
Yeah.
And in some places it's allowed depending upon the local economy and what's normal in your region. I mean, they leave room for that, but obviously it's also very frowned upon because it's very hard to do that. And there's horror stories. If you go to like Very Bad Therapy, that podcast that we had guests on, there's horror stories of situations where it's like, oh, why don't we do therapy and you can like do my patio, you know, or like you
I was
can
gonna
like,
say, that seems like something to be really hard
Yeah.
to keep,
Yeah.
keep
why
straight.
don't you do my floors and like, or babysit my kids or
Right.
something like that.
Jesus.
And it gets, there's a lot of
That's
people
bad.
that do that. Rookies, no. All of that's forbidden. Do not do that. It always creates a dual relationship.
Just seems like a bad idea.
It's just stupid, and you shouldn't do that. But culturally in Vegas, I think we all agree it's okay to take tickets to shows.
Yeah, I mean,
and
especially
live
if the
sporting
guy's like,
events.
I've got 1,000 Golden Knights tickets and I just
Right.
can't get rid of these. It's
Yes.
like, all right, yeah, I
Yes.
suppose.
Send them to me.
Yeah. I can't receive these, but my friend can, and he might invite me.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's really Schrodinger's cat. Like, I don't know if he'll invite me to anything.
I genuinely don't know if he'll bring me or not.
Yeah, I honestly, with all my heart, can ethically say I may give him these tickets and never hear from him.
Yeah.
So
I
this is
might
the
give him
most
these
ethical
tickets,
thing I can
and
do.
he might just tell me about it later.
He might just say, he might even say thanks. Just like not even send me a picture of it.
Yeah.
So this is a really good question. It comes up a lot. It's something that we all have to do some training in and thinking about. And, if you are a student, if you are an intern, a rookie, always err on the side of not receiving gifts. We never want to attack the therapeutic relationship. We don't want to suddenly pivot into like this legalism that is a break from our genuine and authentic and friendly self, suddenly into this like abrasive, like, no, you must never do this, or make them feel bad for trying. We always want to receive the intention and be sincerely touched and grateful for the intent. But then, it's okay to demur and to decline the gift, as I've given examples of how I've done it, with a touch of like, playfulness, or just like, yeah, I'm not really allowed to do that because, they fear that I'm taking advantage of people, but your heart tells me everything. Thank you so much for thinking of me and wanting to give this to me.
I can take it, but you have to throw it in the garbage first and then walk out of the room.
All right, look, there's a garbage
then
can
I
in the
can
lobby.
pick it up, yeah.
You throw some tickets in there. I find some tickets in there. Nobody's the wiser.
Hold on. Let me
Everything's
put a
fine.
fresh garbage bag in
Yeah,
this
let me
garbage
just
can.
put a fresh. These are the loopholes to ethics. And that's why you listen to the show, folks. We teach you the great truths. All right, we are at the end of our program. Let's take a minute to remind people as we get to the back half here of the December month and the end of the year that we are launching. Well, I'm not, but Nick is a fitness trainer and is doing a special program for listeners of this show. As a promotion to kind of include everybody. And so where do they find that information, Nick?
Go to mentalfitpersonaltraining.com.
.com.
You'll see a link there for listeners of the Pod Therapy podcast. So you just click on that, fill out the form, and then it's $30, and that's for 2 months. And it's a fitness challenge, so that's going to include 3 workouts a week. They're all workouts that you can do in your own home. So you don't need a gym, you don't need equipment, anything like that. And then sprinkled throughout, I've got a whole bunch of little blogs that I'm writing. There's some videos I'm going to be posting. It's just some random stuff like that. So it'll be 2 months, and it'll be a ton of fun. A ton of fun.
Tons of fun.
Yes.
Well, tons less, because I think collectively we will probably all be getting
Well,
fitter and maybe losing some tons.
Maybe, or maybe you won't be. I mean,
It's about health.
people work out for all
Yeah.
sorts of different reasons. Some people are just going to do it because they just want to get active, don't really
Yeah.
care about the weight loss, and that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Or the
whatever works.
socializing aspect.
Side note, tons of fun is what I'm going to start referring to Nick as.
Oh, just again, just right there.
All right, that's my last.
Are you quitting the podcast too?
No,
You bumped
I'm
us
not-
both
no
on
more,
this
No
one.
more Three Musketeers. That's
Oh,
it.
are you done?
That's it.
All right, you're just
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. Oh, I
This-
mean, after this one.
This
I'm gonna-
reminds
after this
me.
one.
I know
3
I've
more.
told the story
Yeah,
on the
true.
show. I was there the day Nick decided to become this fitness god. I was there the day it happened. I believe I was part of the problem because we were at the rehab,
Yeah.
and every morning I would stop at Starbucks and I'd get a coffee, and I'd always ask you what you wanted, and you always wanted like
Liquid
just
candy bar.
It was liquid candy bar. That's all. It was like mocha frappuccino with
Yeah.
extra whip and red sprinkles.
And then one day you looked at the calorie count on one
Yeah.
of those.
Stick of butter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like as much as he could get in these things, I've always been like, damn, okay, bud. You know, okay, that's like whatever. And so we would just constantly do this, and then we'd get treats or whatever. And one day we were sitting in my office about to talk. He had just sucked down this huge Starbucks, and then he opens up a pack of Zingers. Those little Twinkie things with frosting on the top.
Oh,
We were like two bites
yeah,
into
yeah,
one,
yeah.
and I made the slightest comment. And, you weren't overweight or anything, but, like, I said something like, whew, Jesus, man, that's like 3,000 calories before we take our first meeting. And I'll never forget, you looked at it, and you looked at the wrapper, and you looked at me, and you said, yeah, I'm done. And he threw the Zingers in the trash can in my office, which that was weird for me because I really wanted them. And like they're sitting in the trash can. I'm wondering, like, is it weird if I grab them? Because like there's nothing in that trash can except for those Zingers. It's
not
a fresh
in the
batch.
And these
trash,
hockey
it's on
tickets.
the
Well,
trash.
it's just hockey tickets next to these Zingers. And I remember he threw them away, walked away, and from that moment to today has just been like consistent as fuck. Like never looked back, never had a bad day. Like I was there when it happened.
Yeah.
It's the wildest thing.
Hasn't been
Never
that
looked back.
consistent.
It certainly seems like
plenty
it.
of bad days.
Well,
yeah.
I'm the reason the fitness challenge exists. I think.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, through my cajoling, I think
Fair
I've
enough.
created all this. Also, deep dives and fun stuff
Yeah.
at patreon.com/therapy. As we've mentioned in the past, the ADHD series is live. Episode 2 has been published, which goes into the history of the diagnosis and then goes over the actual criteria of how we diagnose ADHD. And we have episodes that are coming up in this month. There's going to be one on assessment and treatment of ADHD, and then another one on the big picture. Why are we seeing this increase? What are the reasons for this? What can we do about it in the diagnoses? And what's the right response to that? And then, Nick, you've got one coming out as well.
Yeah, I revisited the SMART goals.
It was time. Fresh coat of paint. We
All right.
needed a fresh
Yeah.
coat of paint on that one.
Yeah, and not only because it had been a while, but also, this is something that I teach on a regular basis, and I've changed the way I teach it.
Yeah.
I've changed a little bit. I went into a little bit more detail than we did on the last one. And then the last
For
one
those
was
who
like
don't
3 years
know-
ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, for those who aren't long-term listeners of the show, what is this
We get it.
topic about?
SMART goals, it's about goal setting. It's about setting goals and objectives, and it's about how to do it in a way that increases the likelihood of follow through.
Yeah, more than just dreaming,
Yep.
achieving. So coming out also at patreon.com/therapy. And we've got some new friends that have joined us up there at patreon.com/therapy. Welcome, new Therapal, Aaron Westerman.
And we got a couple new theropods, Protect and Scoop, welcome,
I like
Nice.
that name.
and Kirsten Johnson.
Ah, very cool. And a new Therodactyl, Now and Zen.
Which I think we mentioned in the last episode.
We did.
But you know what? Now and then you get
You
get
get
a
2
second one.
mentions. Yeah, that's fine.
And we got a new theraproducer,
Oh, shit.
Dr. Hot Dog Scoop.
Dr. Hot Dog Scoop.
Didn't
Yes.
go to
Weird.
hot dog school for 4 years to be called Mr. Hot Dog Scoop.
That's right. Mrs. Hot Dog Scoop.
Excuse me, Mrs. Hot Dog
Yeah.
Scoop.
I go to hot dog school for 4 years. They called Mrs. Hot Dog Scoop. I hope I see that in the out of context thread on our Discord. That's fantastic. All right, so we also want to, of course, thank our presenting sponsor, our therapy partner, Dirty B, and especially thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the therapy producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider. Oh, God. So there was this whole debate on the Discord before I go into the names.
The power couples?
That was so funny.
Yeah, I saw
so,
that.
So Dr. Hot Dog Scoop is married to Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop. And so Nathan's like, oh, there's a new power couple. And then like several other power couples in our community are like, yeah, we all have a claim to this. Who's the real power couple? And so there's this little debate going on. And then Jake Schneider just posts a picture of his 2 handmade tumbler mugs that my mother made for the original 9 members of the Therapy Producers. And he's like, I think a real power couple would have a matching set of things.
If I remember correctly,
and we're done.
Yeah, that was the end of the conversation. I think it was
the
a mic
nuke had
drop.
hit the ground.
Yeah.
Yep, and we're done here.
A real power couple doesn't have to point it out.
The subtle Illuminati, right?
Yeah.
They're behind the scenes. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Dr. and Mrs. Hot Dog Scoop.
Okay, now here's the thing that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because that's what you put in your email that he wanted this.
Maybe that is what he wanted?
No, I know, but Dr.
You think he wants
and
Dr.
Mrs.?
and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
It makes it appear like he is trying to take credit for her doctorate.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
Hold on. I'm going to my DMs really quick. We're going to get this right.
Yeah.
Because
we
I don't do things very often.
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, he would like it to be Dr. and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and change that.
All right, I'm just going to edit all that out,
Thank
and we're back. Okay, where was I? Dr. and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop.
I thought you said Dr. and Mrs. Hot Dog Scoop.
I did, yeah. Let's stick with that. Fuck it.
Dr.
Dr. and
where you can't
Mrs.
edit
Hot
things
Dog
out.
Scoop. I'm going all in on this. It's too late now, Nathan. I'm sorry. Malia,
Who should have been here.
Yeah, that's not my problem. Malia, who should have been here. Leon Kassab, Cindy at Malia, give us our website. Put it in the mail.
Malia has given me my website.
Oh, okay. We have to go check what it points to. Malia, Leon Kassab, Cindy Ash, Mason Miller, Richard Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Newstick, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley, Slappin' Ya Face, Polygons, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, University Jeff, Mike Helm, Myra, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon, Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, and Sad Boy.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. Want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We do appreciate it. Remember, Pod Therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share this on the interwebs and tag us when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, at PodTherapyGuys on Twitter.
You're doing great.
I think that's it. Yeah. I think it's /PodTherapy on Facebook and patreon.com/therapy. I'm doing it from memory, guys. I don't know.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Do we have a tiebreaker on the
We
cars
do.
thing?
Oh, nice.
So I'm not even in contention. But each of you got it.
Okay.
Each of you has 1 point?
I also got a
Yes.
bonus point.
Yes, and there's Jacob's bonus point.
that he
Should
just made up.
for any
That-
reason
I don't remember why I got it, but I got a bonus point.
should for any reason
All
Nick
right.
get this next one, it's still a tie.
Yeah.
Got it.
Uh,
Let the record